Edition of Talk to the Town. We're this morning now, and we're with a very special man. He's a little over 80 years old, they say, and his name is Lemuel Knight. And Lemuel has promised to give us a beautiful tour of the beautiful Alls Bay area and some of the scenery around the Jackson's Cove area. What did I say wrong?
Alls Bay area.
Aren't we in the Alls Bay?
No.
Okay, what bay are we in?
Green Bay.
We're in Green Bay.
Beautiful, scenic Green Bay.
I thought you told me earlier we were in Alls Bay.
Boy. That's what they got on the sign coming into Springdale, but I never liked to see that. Oh, because this is where the scenery is to, in Green Bay. Anybody want to see scenery, come to Green Bay, not to Halls Bay. And that's where they're going when they go out that Trans-Canada, right to Halls Bay.
So this is, we're actually here in Green Bay, and now we're standing at the, if Sean can swing the camera around, we're looking out over a point of your land, and we can see Middle Arm, you say?
Yeah.
And you were telling us we're also at the mouth of Southwest Arm?
At the mouth of Southwest Arm and Middle Arm Head. That's the middle. Middle Arm Head. Landed there?
No, I don't say I have, but I've done some traveling back and forth there in boat.
Red sand there, red beach.
Now you were telling us as we were walking out across your field there that you used to do some fishing around this area years ago.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Well, rather. That's how the people got their living in Jackson's Cove all my life. Fish and farm. Do a little farming. A little fishing, because there were no fish, big lot of fish there. People used to leave and go down to French Shore in the Labrador. And when I was about 13, Alf Pilly, coming from Nippers Harbour in the winter, saw Old Hood seal with codfish in its mouth. Anyway, when the ice cleared away in the spring, he put out a trawl. And you know, that was the first time ever that people in Newfoundland knew that there was fish out in deep water. But there's no fishing done in deep water.
Yeah?
Now that's out there, there's 120 fathom mostly up along out in the middle. And down that way there's 150 and 200, they're off Burlington, 200. And I went out with the second trawl that went out there. I wasn't very big, but I went out with my father. And we put a trawl down after Alf put his down. He found plenty of fish there right under our noses all the time. And there was plenty of it in the spring. To die away in the summer a bit, we thought it was gone. But when the gill nets came around, I was the first one to put a gill net out. And there's plenty of fish there all the time, but they just feel glutted, we call it, with capelin, eh?
Right.
And that's a long time ago, boys. But I fished there for 40 years out there in that bay. Right halfway across there, off Jackson's Cove. And I fished up here. I fished all around with nets. Not so much with trawl up here as with nets. But I used to take the chart and find where the ledges were. And wherever there was a ledge, there was a good place for fish. Ledge in about 100 to 120 fathoms. But the fish didn't hang to the deep water, not the 200 fathom. Didn't like that. Now they're trying to find what fish is like compared with years ago, or I don't know when they want to find out. But anyway, I could just take my trawl and put down in that berth I had it in, back there, and tell them what fish is really around compared with what? Not 80, but I was only about 10 or 12, perhaps 13 when I was out there. 70 years ago, anyway, I can tell them what the fish is like now out there compared with 70 years ago. But they don't want that, the government does, you know. They're just getting money from the federal government for the fishermen, and that's it.
So, what do you think of the fish today? Is the fish comparable to what it was 70 years ago?
No, I don't think. But I don't know that, and no more than anyone know that, because nobody have tried. The fellows they got out trying in the fishing boats, just trying to make a buck at the federal government.
Now we're standing on a beautiful point here, and you were saying earlier it looked like a nice place for a picnic table. Have you got any plans, hopefully in the future, putting a picnic table here and inviting people to come here?
Yeah, I'm going to try to put one here, but I had, you know, it was quite a job to dress this up fit for people to walk around on. I'm going to do. But it's a fine place for a table down there, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And a great place here, look. And when we could cut off some more of them trees, you warm, got a big one around the edges. And time you'll see whales from here, you know. You see seals from here. That's why I always had a salmon net where you have that fellow got his herring net now. You see, I'm not allowed to put out a salmon net now. But the fisherman is allowed to get bait for their pots. And they come around buying 6-inch gill nets a few years ago. Now in the spring of the year they put some around shore to get bait for their pots. You know what's happening, don't you? I don't care about it, but I'd like to be able to put out a net when I want one.
Now, you're going to take us on a nice tour of some of the artifacts in the farming area that you've got here today. And you were telling me that you're well up in health. And would you mind telling us how old you are so that compared to my age, they'll know that you've been around a lot longer and got more experience than I have?
Well, right today I feel 100. But I don't think I'm that much. Because they said I was 85 the 5th of November. Now, I was born on the 5th of November, bonfire night, as you know. And when I was a boy, I always thought bonfire night was special for me. All those bonfires. I didn't know the difference with it.
So you thought your name was Guy Fawkes?
I don't know what they thought, but I thought that my birthday bonfire night, my God, that was it. When I was very young, you know.
Now, you've been involved in farming for years. You had a fair amount of land up around the Trans-Canada. And did you do farming down in this area too, besides up there?
Always. Always. That's how I fed my family. I left Jackson's Cove from fishing and went up there, got a piece of land up where I live now. You know where that's to, up where I live now. And got land and went purpose for to raise cattle and sheep. I was up there, you see, I could raise them without bothering anybody. Down in the Cove, I couldn't. There was no room for me. So I went up there and I got 90 acres, I think, up there, altogether. And going farming now. And the next thing I knew, the people want the road. And they put the road through and ruined me completely and utterly. That's the history of my farming down around here. Now before them time, when I was fishing, summertime, I used to raise up to 100 barrels of potatoes and 100 barrels of turnips. That's how it used to go in barrels. 150 barrels for turnips, 180 for potatoes. Besides fishing, you know. I had a wee horse, 1,400 weight, and put the reins around me neck and go on. The big plow. In the spring, if I put out the trawl, I get my vegetables to stop in, and in the fall, I take it up. No trouble to sell vegetables then. Not a bit. Sell like a raise. There's more raised then than there is now in Newfoundland, I would say. Because everyone that had a family was growing 30 barrels of potatoes, eh? Not so much turnip, because the ground wasn't good for turnip. But great for potatoes, so much cabbage. Enough for their family use. I wish the few quintals of fish they get summertime, well, they'll manage, eh? And Jackson's Cove, I've always been proud of it. I never knew any year in my life that the meat merchants was there didn't have enough stuff in for the winter. Food stuff, I mean, eh? Plenty of food stuff for the winter, there was never any shortage. That's the basics, you know, that's all we had them times, just the basics.
So how do you feel now? Back them days you could go on out and get your fish for the winter and as you felt about it. Now you can't do that. How do you feel about that today?
I should think any Newfoundlander feel pretty raw about that. It's a terrible thing. Because those fools is not doing one thing, boy. Now you take the food fishery. Do you think there'll be any more fish caught by people around the coast for food? If there's free for all, go out any day you like. Do you think many more caught than there is now with the food fishery? Whole families now is in the boat. And not only that, I don't blame them for what they're doing. They throw the fish away, of course, small ones. They're not fool enough to bring in a tiny one if their limit is only 10 fish. Throw them away, and the fellas then got bags in their boats and rocks in the bags and all this, you know. If you're caught with too many, you just slip over the side. No, I can't. Never seen that done, but I know it have been done, you know. I don't blame them. Doing anything you can do now because the government haven't got sense enough for nothing. They're educated and that's all they know, the education they got. One time education didn't matter too much, as long as you were smart enough to get your living. I was always that. I wasn't very smart, but smart enough to get a living. And I was very good at fishing, I'll say.
Must have been a pretty good farmer too. You're still at it.
Well, I never really got the chance to go out farming. You want the history of that, I can tell you that. You got the time. I left and went up there for the sake of establishing a dairy farm for Green Bay. Not for Holland. And went up and I went to Central Dairies and they told me they'd take all the milk I could produce. So that was all right. Now I got a chance to get a piece of land. Howard, my son, you know Howard?
Yes, I do.
And you know Harold Betts' son?
No, I don't.
Harold Betts, my son-in-law. They were going into it with us, so they got a piece of land. My sister-in-law always worked on the mink ranch with us. Didn't want to leave and look for a job, but there wasn't much of a chance of a job in them times. But she was going to have a piece of land too. She had some cows, as it was. We had 30 cows. We got the land. We bought a tractor. Bon bought the tractor, and I bought a tractor. Howard put a house up on his land, on his trailer, and Bon built a house on his up there by the airstrip now. All this, and it wasn't real long before Springdale wanted the airstrip, and the federal money, the federal government gave the council money for the airstrip, and I was after applying for the land. I wasn't that stupid, you know. I done everything all right. I applied, some of the milk quota come in, I applied for a milk quota too. But anyway, it wasn't very long, sir, before they wanted this airstrip, and this is where they wanted it. There's other places they could have put it. But they put it right down through the middle of the land we had applied for, and had permission to get surveyed. Now you talk about that. So we fought it, but for no good. They took away the land the government did from us, and they got the airstrip right down through the middle of it. Now the airstrip had never been any good, really. I guess a big cost to Newfoundland or the federal government, you know. Well, anyway, we went, cleared, me and Bon started clearing now. He had an E7, I had an E6. You know, it didn't come cheap, but we didn't have the most expensive one, that second-hand machine. Mine is operating now. That's a long time ago, 25 years ago, I thought. The next thing, they wanted more land, and they didn't want us there. They said we shouldn't be there. The government rescinded our applications, and that was it. After us having all these preparations made. Now, when the PCs was around trying to get elected, I seen Brian Peckford and Green, what's his name? Green? Not Green. The other old fellow was premier first.
Frank Moores, eh?
Moores, yeah. And Frank Moores told me, he said, boy, we don't think this airship would be any much benefit to the Bay. He said, if you get in, you might get your land back. So when they got in, I applied for it again. And we were told to take it right up to the strip. It wasn't very long, sir, before the famous council wanted more. And I told them where to get off. He wasn't going to give up our land. And on the last of it, we had to go to arbitration. They just took the land they wanted just like that. And they wasn't going to pay us anything for it. That was granted land by that time now.
Yeah.
Land was granted. Council took the land, just like that, and we were delayed so long, so much fool, that this quota system came in. No, sir. Although I was one of the first ones who'd been in for a quota. Do you know, he told me later, when I was really ready to get started, that there was no room for me in the industry, our dairy and industry. No room. Due to improved production plans of existing producers and new entrants, no room for me. Now you talk about it, boy. Wouldn't that make you furious? Anyhow, we had to quit it, just like that. Came down where I am living now and built a barn 50 foot long, wide, you know, built a place for the milk on the side of it, and was going to milk and sell door to door. Because I did that for 1 year, sold at Kings Point, milked 9 cows, sold the milk over around there. And we were going to do that again. And I sent a fellow around, belonging up there, around door to door, and asked the people, did they want me to come back? Yes, sure. He comes back, we'll buy milk. And when I got up again, I had to pasteurize it. There's a kickback to that one, too. We had to pasteurize the milk. But now the government has let everybody go into the dairy business, and you keep up. One man got 300 cows, I know, and 200 is common. And they're feeding them on grain. Oh, I'm not fit to want to count, but it is. And they're raising milk on grain. They don't pasture the cows at all. A few years back, I saw an item in the farm pockets that they was after discovering something in raw milk that was a cancer fighting agent. Fight cancer. So, about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, he had another item in. He was after, yes, it was wonderful stuff, but it had to be raised on pasture grass. The milk had to be raised on pasture grass. If a cow was raised on grain, no good. And Britain came out of the hole she was in last year because she was pasturing her beef. You know about what happened last year in Britain. She was pasturing her beef, and Germany and France was grain feeding theirs. Grain-fed beef is practically no good, but there's a wonderful cancer-fighting agent because omega fatty acid, I believe, or something. I think that's the name of it. And that fights cancer. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing, they say. But beef raised on grain is no good. So the milk that our government is feeding the children in the schools now is not as good as it could be. They'd have let me alone. Like I said, came home and built the barn, and I had to pasteurize the milk there, and I couldn't sell it raw. Now that's the way the people want it, raw off the pasture. In this area, they want to be able to take it and go out and get the cream. I know one elderly lady used to buy a quart of milk every day, and she makes enough butter from that to have cow's butter all the time, you know what I mean, fresh butter. So things don't work out like those smart guys think it will. Now I don't know what they're going to do now. But there's 40% more cancer fighting or something in milk and beef that's raised on pasture grass.
All right, John. Mr. Knight, we've moved to another section of your garden now, and it's quite a long walk for a man with a bad back. Yeah. And I got a bad back this morning, and he tells me you're a little bit sore in the back too. Yeah, I'm not stable in the back. It's very good. Now I don't have any suffering or anything like that. I never have a pain. 85 years old, and I haven't had a pain so long I can remember. Only when I cut myself or something like that now. But my back just seems weak, the lower part. I don't think the circulation is good. Anyway, that's not much enough about me. No, you were just mentioning as we were walking up here all the beautiful trees that's around. We're looking at some of the, Shauna's doing some panning here now, looking at some of the beautiful trees that's here. Yeah, and the moose is here. I don't know where there's two right there, I suppose. Spring.
We must have drove 2 moose out of it, I imagine. Buttons was there, my son. He was able to take up a 2-gallon pail full, I suppose. Moose buttons.
So you see many bears around here?
Yeah, I haven't, but there was 3 out feeding on the grass on the field out there where we just came from a few years ago. Fella shot one just over the side of that. But there haven't been any here. I've been keeping sheep here now for 2 or 3 years. There haven't been any here.
So you do a bit of sheep farming too, do you?
We got 80 sheep and lambs, 5 cows.
Now, you were telling us as we were walking up there a very interesting story about a rabbit snare once. Would you tell us that for the camera?
Well, a little boy, I wanted to get rabbit catching. So I came up back of the garden and saw what I thought was a rabbit's lead. Anyway, I knew how to set what they used to term them times a balance hoister. The snare wire we had was no good, so if you hit pointy, you chew it off. And you had generally a piece of wire, but twine was all right with a balance hoister. You couldn't chew it. So I set the snare in this lead I thought I had found, and went back the next morning, got up right early and went back to get the rabbit. And my mother used to keep hens, and she had a great big rooster, real nice looking fella. And when I got in sight of my snare, the hoister was up and I thought I had the rabbit. When I looked, I had Mom's rooster. That's what was choking the snare.
I wouldn't say Mom was too pleased about that, would she?
No, she couldn't blame me very much, you know. I was only trying to catch the rabbit for her.
And instead of you caught the rooster?
Instead I caught the rooster, sir.
So did Mom have to go look for another rooster then?
Oh, I suppose she got one around somewhere. Got eggs, you know, from some other source if she wanted to get a hen to set.
Now we're going to move on out to another beautiful point you call the higher ground?
Higher ground, yeah.
Let's take a walk up to the higher ground.
My friends, the browns and the clearings, let me fish of Cape St. Mary's. Let me feel my adoring live to the broad Atlantic combers, where the tide rifts swirl and the wild ducks the numbers neath the broad Atlantic compass. Let me sail a golden bay with my oilskins all a-streamin' from the thunder squall when I haul me trough and my old Cape Anna gleamin' with my oilskins all a-streamin'. Let me view that rugged shore where the beaches all a-glisten with the Capeland spar where from dusk to dawn you bait your trawl and listen to the undertow a-hissin'. When I reach that last big shore where the ground swells break asunder, where the wild sands roll to the surge's cove,
us as we walk down through the trail there, that little story about a Beothuk lookout. Will you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, nobody knows exactly, of course, what was up there, but because the Beothuk was gone before the people settled in Jackson School, presumably. Excuse me. And but they settled there. They were there and used to make arrows heads. There was an encampment there, right there where our house is to now, and used to make arrowheads there. Where they get the flint, I don't know. I don't know any deposits of flint in Newfoundland. Do you?
No.
Somebody told me they could get it on the Labrador, the flint on the Labrador. So that means that some Indians coming in here may have been encamped there. It may not have been Beothuks at all.
Right.
People just assumed it was Beothuks. Anyway, they had a trail right up to the top of this point, back behind there a bit. And that old fellow said there was a trail was there always, you know, where the Beothuks used to come up. Now they could see anybody coming around that point from it, see anybody coming out at South Arm or any from across the bay. And if they happened to be nervous about the people attacking, you know, you'd get up there, you'd see them coming. Anyway, that's back there. I haven't got that dressed up yet. I'm going to try to dress it up sometime before too long. And how long they was there, I don't know, but there was a lot of stuff found there. And there was stuff found where see that house in the middle of the cove there? East Point. That house you can see there in the middle of East Point and the cove there. Little white one in the woods just to the right of it there. Well, they were there too. Because what happened there, I don't know. I was never there to see it, but it might have been that they buried them there or something. There's a sandy patch there, what the fellows they used to call a sandy garden. And they told them, don't you make a mistake and fall over there, you know, your love will get hurt if you do. And there was arrowheads and stuff found there, but they had to dig for it, I believe. So it may have been that where they buried the dead, eh?
Yeah. Now, as we were walking down over the bank there, we got word that there was a whale there, and it seemed to make you smile and look like a fairly happy man. You got a lot of memories from out on this point, have you?
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen the seals. We used to come here and look for seals, see? Watch for slob, because we'd be out in slob, you know, out the day after seals. And we killed the seals, of course, and tanned the skins and made boots. And eat the meat, some of it. And then when I started at mink, I used to use for mink food, although it wasn't a good food for mink. And so I was been up here a lot of times, and seen that bay full of seals sometimes, full of whales. And Max and my father used to be afraid of whales, see? They thought I didn't have much sense. I didn't give a damn for them. They drowned me. And the potheads, look for potheads. Get out in the Bradley I had with a 12 gauge and balls. And I used to load the balls into shells, just put the shell full of powder, and just catch the ball on top and stick in there with fat. Having down enough to be a little lazy around. It wasn't very long, of course, before I split the gun open about 6 inches, the barrel of the gun. I had a beautiful Hankin Riches and 12 gauge, and here she was split open, bag way back. But anyway, she was out for balls after that. I shot her off, and just get out there in the Rodney and shoot them. One day I went out there were thousands. Boy, there's some thick that day. And wasn't very long before I got a shot at one and crippled his backbone. I want that pothead so bad. So I ran up, rode up, till I hit the board, the front of the board hit the pothead, and I put the harpoon in as hard as ever I could. But now see, he was crippled. He crippled his backbone. He wasn't killed. So we went on the string, and instead of letting him go, heading in there for Jackson Cove, that's who we were. I put up the gun and shot the bullet in the back of his head. A ball. A bullet. Soft point bullet was no good in that. 303 bullet, 3006 bullet, not a bit of good in the world in it. 45 hard point, the lead bullet was all right. Anyway, I didn't have it there. I had the 12 gauge, a simpler load. And he sank quite fast. I traveled to the front of the boat and got the boat in the knots in the stem. And got back and got it around the seat.
Mm.
Sat in the I was up in front of the boat now, and the weighted party was up in front of the boat. And she was down almost going underwater in front of her. But finally we settled away and she wasn't. Gunnels was up.
I guess as long as the gunnels is above water, you were floating.
It was, I had the boots off now, for if I had jumped out. And I was dressed lightly. Anyway, they started coming around, potted it then, right close to the boat. I suppose the blood from the other one, they saw the dead one there, the dead friend. And there was a fellow down below along the Jack's Cove that wanted one. So I gets up to 12 gauge. And this one, Tom boy, right alongside. And I said, for God's sake, don't kick. And pulled the trigger. And I crippled that one's backbone, fortunately. The boat came up down below and took the two of them and threw them in the Jack's Cove for me. But there's right I'd been yet out there with one of the boat just level with the water, holding on to that pothead.
So you had some pretty good experiences with that stuff then?
Oh, I did, yes, all my life. Seals, sharks. One evening I had a shark about 14 feet long, and I was in Rodney at that time. I was fishing in my Rodney. Got a light boat, you know, on a trawl. It's good. There's not a lot of fish, so you get by no trouble to bring it in. And I felt this awful weight on the trawl. My God, I couldn't think what was fast to him. Finally, I looked down and here he was, fully as big as a punt. I was in. Now, time come me be scared now, but I didn't happen to be. Never had sense now. Hauled on him, hauled and dragged him up alongside the boat. Got out his tail with the hand gaff. And a shark is not like a salmon or anything like that. It's jumping and kicking. He's a pretty steady fish. And I hauled it up on the boat, sir. Got up my pocket knife, because I couldn't get forward to get the bait knife. So I only had my pocket knife. And cut the tail off the bastard. And he was gone. And that's where the hook was to in his tail. One hook in his tail, boy, brought he up.